There are so many good mecha anime out there, but for each amazing one, there's an equally terrible one. So today, I'm going to watch 1-star rated mecha anime and see if I can find any hidden gems. Weird animation.
Why is their mouth not closing when they're talking? What is happening?
Ridiculous fights.
Because this is easily, and I mean easily, the worst CGI I've ever seen.
Stories that make absolutely no sense.
Wait, what just happened? They were in the middle of like getting destroyed by the squid and it went into a flashback? What?
These are only a few of the things I'm going to be putting myself through today. But here's the thing. For every anime I watch, I have to find one thing that I genuinely love about it.
Okay, so the first anime we're checking out is SD Gundam Force. Okay, so this is the summary of this bad boy. The land of Neotopia is attacked by the Dark Axis, evil invaders from another dimension who wish to conquer this land. Neotopia's answer, a secret super-dimensional guard and their defenders, the Gundam Force. Quick disclaimer, I know that Gundam is like one of the biggest things in anime ever, but I've never watched a single one. Yes, I am sorry, I am not the weeb you thought I was, okay? But it's better later than never, okay? So let's do it. Literature Nerd says the CGI in this series easily takes the cake as the worst use of CGI in anime history. Fantastic.
This is very concerning because I always thought that mecha anime looked amazing.
I am so scared of ruining the image I have of mecha anime. So let's do this. Whoa. Sorry, wasn't quite ready for that, okay? Have you ever played one of these like old video games where 3D was a new thing? No? I am so old.
I noticed that the CGI was doing something that I had never seen before.
Okay, do you see anything weird happening right now? Like, what happens when you zoom onto their faces? Why is their mouth not closing when they're talking? What is happening?
And although this was hilarious, what I wanted to see was how the CGI looked during fights.
Honestly, I kind of like the action sequences. I mean, they're not perfect, obviously, but look at this. It's kind of cool. I think it's good.
And I wish it had stayed that way because...
What is this?
And eventually...
This might be one of the most pathetic explosions I've seen in anything, and I mean anything. Okay, is this the worst CGI I've seen in my entire life? Is this the worst CGI in history? Maybe, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, maybe my eyes are hurting a little bit, just a tiny bit. So, Literature Nerd, I hope you're happy because, yeah, that was really difficult. And, oh yeah, also you're right. So, well done.
SD Gundam didn't start very well. And if it was going to continue like this, finding anything good about it was going to be impossible.
T-Saint says, the jokes, if you can call them that, aren't funny. Short and painful.
And just to give you an idea, this was the first joke I heard in this entire series.
If I was smart, I'd stay out of this, but I'm not.
From the very beginning, I felt like SD Gundam was gonna serve a bad jokes, bad CGI meal until...
I love how the guy is literally explaining why he can use weapons against robots that are actually invading Earth. See, that's funny, that's funny.
I was carefully looking for any joke I could find because so far, it was a pretty mixed bag.
Okay, I guess the Gundam guy just got completely destroyed by the bad guy, and now he crashed into Shoot's home, who's like the main character, and now Shoot is trying to wake him up, I guess.
But then...
I love how this man just found the Sleeping Beauty book on the floor, read about the sleeping princess, and decided that that would work on a robot. I'm sorry, that's hilarious. I'm sorry, this is so good.
And right as he was actually about to do it...
And I guess the robot woke up because of Shoot's beating heart? I mean, the most important thing is that he woke up, so... Cool.
You repaired me.
I wouldn't go that far, but sure.
Erase my existence from your memory.
I wish it was that easy, you cold-hearted robot.
And after I had heard almost every joke this episode had to offer.
Okay, to be honest, when this anime tries to be funny, I get it. It's the worst. It's the worst thing ever. But when it doesn't try to be funny, it's actually kind of hilarious.
But just as the episode was about to end, this happened.
Goodbye, Captain Gundam.
Okay, I was not expecting emotional moments in this. That kind of caught me off guard, honestly. So T-Saint, your comment was short and painful, but this anime was long and yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. So the point is, it was really funny and I disagree with you. That's it, that's kind of it.
I was feeling pretty happy with everything so far until I read the next comment.
Okay, Terrible says, it's as bare bones and bland of a happy kid's adventure plot as you might imagine it to be. I can't see anyone older than 12 enjoying the show a lot. You underestimate my powers, Terrible.
The next episode started and it did in fact feel pretty bland until...
Good afternoon there, Shoot.
He said with the least threatening face ever.
Make a long story short, I would like you to help me.
Yes, a 10-year-old boy helping a secret defense organization. I like where this is going.
And after a little while,
Oh well, I guess we're actually meeting the secret organization now. So,
Captain, I thought you understood that your existence was to be considered top secret.
you mean the robot that's been shooting lasers and practicing his sick kicks on an army of robots that invaded Earth? His existence was meant to be kept a secret?
From now on, all such activities are prohibited. Is that clear?
But the boy is important.
Dude, I mean, this is character development right there.
If you really care for the boy, then that's all the more reason for you not to be with him. Not if you care about his
Oh man, that's pretty sad actually. Damn.
and a few minutes later, we got to the episode's fight scene.
Love how he just completely ignored the orders he got like 2 minutes ago. That's good. Well done.
The fight itself was decent, but I was absolutely not ready for what happened right after.
I want to introduce you guys to someone special. His name is Captain, and he's lots of
I
fun.
swear I am not gonna cry for SD Gundam. There is no way. Okay, you know what? Say what you want about this being for kids, but there are moments that were actually really emotional and touching for me. So, you know what, Terramol? I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you. I'm older than 12 as far as I'm concerned, and I enjoyed that a lot. Loved it, actually.
Now that I had reviewed the reviews, it was time to figure out what I genuinely liked about this.
Okay, you know what? I think I might be a little nostalgic watching this, but it's an easy one. This anime is super simple, but I really got attached to the characters and I got emotional a couple of times. So if you're ready to forgive the awful CGI, I admit the CGI is awful, and if you're ready to forgive it, you should enjoy it. Oh, and I also found out that apparently that's the worst Gundam anime ever. So that's very exciting for the future.
And even though I had a surprisingly great experience with this one, I knew that there were 2 more to go. But what I didn't know was that the next anime was ranked number 13,357 on my anime list, which to me was pretty surprising because I didn't even know there were that many anime. This is the infamous Mars of Destruction.
So the story is, several months after a probe returning from Mars burns up during re-entry, strange creatures called Ancients begin to appear throughout Tokyo. Aggressive and dangerous, they cannot be killed with ordinary weapons. As scientists struggle to find the cause of their sudden appearance, monsters wreak havoc across the world. Humanity finds hope in the form of the Mars suit. Okay, this is 1 episode long, there is no way it's that complicated.
Yeah, famous last words of a man right before he had one of the worst anime experiences of his life.
Tligmel says, Mars of Destruction, more like Mars of Boredom. It's like burn Tligmel.
I started watching, but very quickly noticed something unusual.
Okay, there are some aliens. Okay, now there's soldiers to fight them, I think. Why are they just looking at each other? Why did she say they were going to fight and then stare at them for 10 seconds? Do something? Oh well, now she can't.
A few seconds later, the main character finally appeared in his mecha suit.
You know, the mecha reveal is meant to be one of the coolest moments. Just saying. I know this was only a few minutes long, but this genuinely felt like the longest fight I've ever seen, and I'm not exaggerating. First episode of an anime, especially the first couple of minutes, are meant to grab you as an audience like super hard, but in these first minutes, everything felt like it was taking 10 times longer than it should have. Honestly, Tligmel, that wasn't even a good burn, because you were just speaking facts.
We were 5 minutes in, and I was really struggling. And if it was already this difficult at this point, I can't even imagine how difficult it would be to say anything good about this anime.
Okay, Glaze Gabe says, I already knew I was going to watch it ironically when I clicked on it, but the animation was so abysmal that it made the experience all the more enjoyable. I would find this review much more concerning if you didn't have such a good username, honestly.
I continued watching until I noticed that something wasn't right.
It wasn't as obvious in the beginning, but do you see a problem with all these shots? Yep. They're not actually animated. They're just a bunch of moving images. Okay, I guess now we're not even moving the images. Amazing. Okay.
There was something so weird about these animations, and I just couldn't put my finger on it until...
Oh my goodness, the trick they found to make you feel like something is moving is either moving the mouths of the characters or just the background. Nothing else is moving whatsoever. I mean, if anything, that's super creative. I respect that. Okay, listen, let's not beat around the bush. It's ugly, but it probably came out in like the 90s or something, so it's not that crazy. It came out in 2005? What?
As much as I was trying to find the positive side of things, the answer was obvious.
Glaze Gabe, still a great username. I'm sorry if I ever doubted you because you were completely right. Let's move on.
Things were not looking good for Mars of Destruction, but there was still one last chance.
Salveline says, sound effects are dull and do little to nothing to draw you into the scene, and the absolute absence of any sounds at all during most scenes may go along with the visuals, but that doesn't make the whole thing any less boring. The biggest joke, however, is the music. It's not bad. No. In fact, it includes some of the most memorable pieces of music ever written, but they're all subpar versions of classical music pieces and don't even remotely match anything that's going on. It's laughable at best. I think laughable is a good word here because that sounds kind of funny, actually.
As soon as I started listening to the sounds and music of this anime, something caught me completely off guard.
Why does he sound like this? Oh no, I get it. I think they made the character's voice muffled because he's wearing a mecha suit. Are you telling me that he can't talk normally while wearing the most sophisticated piece of technology in this entire story? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, literally.
And although this really surprised me, this was only the first surprise in my way.
Can you hear this? Okay, I don't know the name of this song, but I know it's really famous. And why is it playing while the armor guy is getting beaten up? And why does it sound like it was recorded on a toaster? Why? They put another famous classical song like 30 seconds after that, and it still makes no sense. What?
This didn't only happen a couple of times. No, it happened throughout the episode. And the part that shocked me the most was this.
Dude, why is it so loud? There's like an epic classical song playing while the dude that sounds like he's behind a wall is talking. What is happening? What is happening? Listen, even though I don't know the names of the songs, I still enjoy classical music once in a while because it's the type of music that's existed for hundreds and hundreds of years, that's made it through generations into our ears. But you know, when Mozart made his music, I don't think he was envisioning that, to be honest. Salveline, you were completely right. I just think that it's very unfortunate that I misunderstood what you meant by laughable.
Even though this anime didn't do everything perfectly, my final thoughts were surprising.
Look, this anime has a bunch of quirks that make it bad, honestly. And I completely understand why it's 13,000th or whatever, because the muffled voice, the terrible music, the moving JPEGs, but the combination of all these things is something that I never saw, and seeing it happen is kind of beautiful. You know, why am I lying? But okay, honestly, there's one moment in this anime that I think looks really cool. The main character puts on his armor and you see him put on the armor, and you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if they put like 90% of their budget in that, so yeah. Yeah, good job for living rent-free in my head because of the music. Mars of Destruction, great job.
Mars of Destruction left a sour taste in my mouth. I was really looking forward to the next anime, especially if I could find some of that SD Gundam magic again. What I didn't know is that it was created by one of the worst anime studios in history.
Okay, so the last anime we're checking out is Skelter plus Heaven, and a lot of people are mentioning that it was directed by Yoshiteru Satao. I mean, I don't personally know anything he's done, but let me check it out. No! Okay, well, I guess the story is when a mysterious entity suddenly appears in the center of Tokyo, the Altamira agency is tasked to repel the extraterrestrial threat. I mean, it definitely sounds simpler than Mars of Destruction. Code Blaze Fate says, let's address the elephant in the room. CGI is awful. I don't know what it is about the short comments. They just get me good, you know?
I had already seen the SD Gundam CGI, so honestly at that point, I wasn't that scared. For a while, there wasn't that much CGI to be seen. Sure, the animation wasn't great, but it generally looked nicer than Mars of Destruction. And even though that's not a high bar, at this point, I was taking any win I could. But then, I saw this.
So there's a mecha fight, and for some reason the characters don't have faces anymore? Awesome.
But this quirky detail was about to turn into a tragedy.
I am saying this with every cell in my body. If you think that SD Gundam has the worst CGI in anime history, I beg you, please do not watch this anime. For your safety, for your eyes, I beg you. Because this is easily, and I mean easily, the worst CGI I've ever seen. Easily, so easily.
Little did I know that I would soon regret these words.
Is this the enemy of this anime? You know how the previous fight was like the worst thing I ever saw? 2 minutes later, we see the enemy of this anime. And do you know what it is? It's literally a huge squid made of CGI floating around the air. That's all it's doing. It floats. And do you know how it fights? Code Blaze Fate, I mean, you are completely wrong. CGI isn't awful. It's the worst thing I've ever seen, ever. So I guess you were right.
At this point, it was impossible for me to genuinely say anything good about Skelter plus Heaven. What a stupid name for an anime, by the way. I couldn't concentrate on watching because all I was thinking about was what lie I would invent to redeem this anime. But then...
Okay, King says, never before have I seen such a compelling and well-crafted story. In the measly 19 minutes that my eyes were blessed with, I experienced entire life stories, unbelievable plot twists, captivating storylines, and a highly satisfying conclusion. Recommend for all persons. Reviewers rating 1 out of 10. Never before have I seen such a story either, King. Never.
I continued watching to see if I'd be lucky enough to go through the same experience as King.
Wait, what just happened? They were in the middle of like getting destroyed by the squid and it went into a flashback? What?
And only a few seconds later,
it went back to the fight for like 5 seconds and we're getting another flashback? What? So we learned that the main character is like an artificial human or whatever, and that's cool, but what does it have to do with anything we're watching? What does it have to do?
I was quickly getting to the end of the episode.
So she just entered the mind of the squid and she says that she needs to defeat it to protect the pilot dude that she loves. Who cares? Squid was defeated and just fell vertically. I can't. So there's a 1-year time skip and then an army of squids show up and that's the end of the first episode? You know what this feels like? It feels like they had to put 10 episodes into one. I was expecting to disagree with King, but honestly I have to agree on this one. I experienced crazy plot twists and a very satisfying ending. Perfect.
So this part of the anime wasn't great, but at least it made me laugh. And even though I was basically done with this anime, there was still a final review I had to check out.
Literature Nerd says, oh, I see you're a fan of high quality anime. Literature Nerd says, we have characters so bland that their hair colors are their only distinguishing personality trait. You know what, Literature Nerd? Agree to disagree. Listen, I was expecting this to be extremely difficult, but this is actually the easiest positive review out of these 3 anime, because there's one thing that made it stand out. I loved the squid. It was easily my favorite character in this entire anime. And you know what? When they all came back to destroy the planet, felt pretty good. So yeah, I've never seen a character be that important while being a literal moving PNG, but you know, respect. I think that when you watch less known anime, you can discover stuff that you personally really like, and that's kind of beautiful. But I will never forgive the classical music, you piece of shit.